All right, so get this. We're diving deep today into a group that honestly started with some pretty noble goals.
Mm.
Like fighting oppression, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but then things took a seriously dark turn.
Big time. And we're talking about the Black Axe.
Right, using the Wikipedia article as our main source here.
Exactly, Black Axe Confraternity. It's a wild story.
Yeah, it really is.
So, what we're going to try to unpack here is how did a group that started out fighting oppression end up, you know,
Being accused of the very things they opposed.
Totally.
It's a story of
Okay.
good intentions,
Yeah.
gone wrong.
Yeah.
With some pretty disturbing implications, for sure.
Okay, so let's set the stage a little bit. The Black Axe was founded way back in 1977.
At the University of Benin in Nigeria,
Right. A group of 9 students.
led by Nicholas Idemudia.
And they wanted to create a Pan-African movement,
Yeah, they were all about intellectual radicalism, fighting colonial oppression.
fostering brotherhood, all that.
Right, and get this, even their name, Black Axe, came from their logo.
Okay.
An axe smashing colonial chains.
Wow.
Pretty powerful imagery, right?
Yeah, definitely makes you think.
Yeah.
So, but here's where things start to take a turn. Around 1994,
Yeah.
the Black Axe seems to split from its original student movement, which was the Neo-Black Movement of Africa,
The NBM.
right, or NBM, and that's when we start seeing this increase in violence.
Oh, really?
Yeah, allegedly used to enforce a certain, strength amongst members.
Like a show of force kind of thing.
Exactly.
And it gets even more complicated.
Because in 2024, the NBM actually publicly denounced the Black Axe.
What?
Yeah, they even expelled members connected to the group.
Wow, so that makes you wonder, was this a real attempt to distance themselves?
Or is there more to the story?
Right, are they still connected in some way, just operating under the radar?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
One that researchers are still trying to answer.
It's like a puzzle.
Yeah, it really speaks to the challenge of trying to understand a group that thrives on secrecy. Okay, so let's talk about these notorious Black Axe rituals, because we know they have this oath of secrecy where members swear to never reveal what goes on inside.
Right. But some details have come to light about their initiation ceremony known as blending.
Blending?
And let me tell you, it's not for the faint of heart.
Oh, I bet.
So reports describe some pretty intense hazing.
Okay.
New recruits are forced to endure physical abuse,
Oh, wow.
lying in mud and crawling through what they call a devil's passage, which involves crawling between the legs of other members.
That's intense.
Yeah, and there are even accounts of blood drinking as part of the initiation.
Be serious.
It's pretty disturbing stuff, especially when you consider their initial goal of fighting oppression.
Yeah, it's like they're using oppression within their own ranks to create this, twisted sense of loyalty.
Exactly, and that's where the rituals connect directly to their structure and control.
Okay, I see.
These brutal experiences are designed to degrade and then connect members through shared suffering.
Oh, wow.
This fosters a bond of silence and obedience.
So it's not just about random cruelty.
It's calculated.
Yeah.
And speaking of calculated, their governance structure is surprisingly organized.
What do you mean?
Well, they have roles like the priests, the chairman, the eyes, the criers, and even the butchers.
The butchers?
Yeah, each role has a very specific purpose in maintaining order and secrecy.
Oh, wow. Like a well-oiled machine.
Right. So, for instance, the eyes are responsible for watching out for law enforcement during their, meetings and initiations.
I see.
The criers, they handle all the communication, spreading information through flyers and emails.
Wow. And the butchers?
Well, their job is to enforce the rules, often through violence.
Oh, man. It's Yeah, it is.
And it really sets the stage for what we'll explore next, which is the Black Axe's alleged involvement in a whole range of criminal activities.
Okay, so we're moving into the nitty-gritty now.
Yeah, the BBC even called them a mafia-style gang.
Wow, that's serious.
So it should give you a sense of how seriously their activities are viewed.
So we're talking allegations of...
Cybercrime, election fraud, human trafficking, drug trafficking, and of course, continued violence and intimidation.
So, to really grasp the scale of their alleged operations, let's take a closer look at 2 specific areas.
Okay, sounds good.
Cybercrime and what's called confraternity violence.
Which is a really unique aspect of university culture in Nigeria.
Okay, so let's start with cybercrime, because back in 2021, Interpol conducted this huge operation.
Yeah, 75 suspected Black Axe members were arrested across 4 continents.
Wow.
And they were accused of trying to move over $1 million through various bank accounts.
It's crazy how global this is.
Yeah. And it was a sophisticated operation.
Really?
Authorities seized something like 12,000 SIM cards,
Wow.
suggesting a vast network, and they were allegedly using tactics like romance scams.
Like catfishing.
Yeah, exactly. Preying on people, looking for love online, and also advance fee schemes
Where they trick people into sending money up front.
for a promised reward that never materializes.
Oh man, that's awful.
It really highlights how cybercrime is a global problem,
Yeah,
affecting people from all walks of life.
absolutely.
And then there's the issue of confraternity violence.
Which might be a new concept for some listeners.
Yeah, basically these confraternities are student groups in Nigerian universities,
Okay.
but they've become notorious for violent clashes and rivalries.
So like gangs, essentially.
In a way, yeah. And one particularly horrifying incident involving the Black Axe happened in 1999 at Obafemi Awolowo University.
Okay.
A group of about 40 Black Axe members, armed with shotguns and hatchets, stormed the university, targeting specific students.
Oh,
And the source material actually quotes them calling out students by name.
like what?
Yeah, stuff like Pharaoh come out if you're a man,
Uh,
legacy come out if now your father born you.
that's chilling.
It's really disturbing stuff. 5 students were killed, 11 were injured.
And this wasn't an isolated incident, right?
No clashes with other groups like Ide Norseman and Mathite continue to plague Nigerian universities.
It's hard to believe this is happening on campuses.
And what's even more concerning is that a lot of this violence goes unreported
Really?
because of limited police presence in places like Benin City.
That's scary.
But to give you a sense of just how dark things can get, in April of 2024, Black Axe members were found with a gallon of human blood.
Wow, that's a truly disturbing detail. It makes you wonder what else might be going on behind closed doors.
So welcome back to our deep dive into the Black Axe.
Hmm.
It's just mind-blowing how an organization that started with these great ambitions,
Right, like fighting for Pan-Africanism.
right, exactly, has allegedly become involved in all this criminal activity across the globe.
It's wild.
And the stuff we're about to get into is especially disturbing.
Okay.
So one area we haven't touched on yet is their alleged involvement in human trafficking.
Yeah, which is a truly horrific crime.
Exploits the most vulnerable people in society.
It's heartbreaking.
And there are multiple reports linking the Black Axe to cases of, forced prostitution and labor exploitation.
Especially in Europe.
Yeah, like in 2016, Italian police arrested almost 24 suspected Black Axe members
Wow.
on charges ranging from mafia conspiracy, drug trafficking, exploitation of prostitution, even violent crimes.
And then just a year later?
There were more suspicions of their involvement in sex trafficking rings still in Italy.
Man, it's just sickening to think about. These people are being lured with promises of a better life,
Right.
only to be trapped in this horrible cycle of abuse and exploitation.
And the methods they allegedly use to control their victims are often rooted in those same rituals and intimidation tactics we talked about earlier.
Oh, that makes sense.
Like in 2022, there was a case where 4 suspected Black Axe members were arrested for forcing a woman into human trafficking.
Oh, wow.
They basically held her captive, used a combination of physical and psychological abuse to coerce her into prostitution.
The reports were just horrific.
Yeah, she was allegedly imprisoned, raped, blackmailed, forced to work to pay off this massive debt, like 15,000 euros.
It's just a chilling example of how far-reaching and ruthless their operations can be.
It really highlights, the dark side of this whole Black Axe Brotherhood facade.
Yeah, for sure. So let's switch gears a bit and talk about their alleged involvement in election fraud, which honestly strikes at the heart of democracy.
Yeah, this is where things get really interesting because you see this intersection of organized crime and political power.
Right, and remember Augustus Spemi,
Oh yeah, the APC party candidate from back in 2019.
the one linked to the Black Axe through those leaked emails?
Exactly. Those emails revealed some pretty incriminating stuff.
Like what kind of stuff?
Well, instructions on running scams, discussions about specific targets, even documents suggesting that 35 million naira,
Which is about, what, $85,000?
yeah, or 64,000 pounds, was funneled to the Black Axe back in 2012 to secure votes in Benin City.
So we're talking vote-buying intimidation tactics. Who knows what else?
It really makes you question the integrity of the entire electoral process.
Yeah.
When organized crime can have that kind of influence.
So how do we even begin to combat an organization like this one that's so entrenched in so many layers of society?
It's $1 million question.
From universities to politics to international criminal networks, it's a lot.
It's a complex issue.
Yeah.
Requires a multifaceted approach, for sure.
So what do we do?
Well, law enforcement agencies all over the world are starting to pay attention, which we see with those Interpol operations.
All right.
But it's going to take a lot more than just arrests to dismantle something this big and this secretive.
So what else can we do?
Well, we need greater international cooperation,
Okay.
stronger laws to specifically target cybercrime and human trafficking.
Right.
But I think most importantly, we need to address the root causes that lead people to join these groups in the first place.
That's a good point.
Especially in places like Nigeria, where there's a lot of poverty and a lack of opportunity.
Yeah, so it's about empowering young people.
Exactly. Giving them alternatives.
Creating a society where joining a criminal organization isn't the only option.
Right. Education and awareness are key here.
So what can we as individuals do to actually make a difference?
I think just being aware is a great first step.
Hmm.
The more we understand about groups like the Black Axe, the better equipped we are to protect ourselves and others.
And advocate for change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So things like learning about cybercrime, recognizing scams, supporting anti-trafficking organizations are all good places to start.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Even spreading awareness among your friends and family can have a big impact.
That's a good idea.
It's about creating this ripple effect of knowledge
Yeah, I like that.
that can empower communities to stand up to these criminals.
That's actually really encouraging.
Change takes time. It doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
But persistent effort from individuals, organizations, and governments can make a real difference.
Okay, so we're back for the final part of our Black Axe deep dive. And wow, it's been a journey.
Yeah, we've gone from these, Pan-African roots to some pretty serious allegations.
Yeah, definitely not what I expected when we started.
As we kind of wrap things up here, I think
Yeah.
it's important to, think about the future.
Okay.
Like what's next for the Black Axe?
Yeah, can they actually be stopped?
Can law enforcement actually disrupt these networks? Are they going to adapt and keep going?
That's the big question.
Because this story, it's not over.
No way.
As long as there are vulnerable people and, is illegal markets,
They'll find a way.
groups like the Black Axe will probably keep going.
It's scary to think about.
Yeah, that's why it's so important to, stay informed,
Yeah.
educate yourself about their tactics, and support those groups fighting organized crime.
And human trafficking.
Yeah.
Globally.
Going through all this info, it really makes you think, like, what can we even do as individuals,
It does feel like a huge problem.
Yeah.
But I think awareness is a big first step.
Okay.
The more we understand about these organizations, the better we can protect ourselves and others.
So, like, learning about cybercrime spotting scams, supporting those anti-trafficking groups.
Exactly. Even just talking to your friends and family about it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's about spreading the knowledge,
Yeah,
empowering communities to resist.
that makes me feel like we can all do something.
But
Exactly.
even if it seems small.
Every little bit helps. And remember, change, it takes time.
Doesn't happen overnight.
Right. It takes effort from individuals, organizations, governments.
We all got to work together.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think this has been a really eye-opening deep dive
Yeah, we've learned a lot.
from those idealistic beginnings to, the dark reality of their alleged crimes.
We've seen how easily good intentions can get twisted.
Power corrupts.
Absolutely.
But we've also seen, those people fighting back.
The importance of knowledge.
Yeah, and how we can all work together to make a difference.
There's always hope for a better future.
Yeah, that's a good takeaway.
So that concludes our deep dive into the Black Axe.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully this has shed some light on this world, and inspired you to learn more and stay vigilant.
And do what you can to fight organized crime.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening.